Welcome everybody to our weekly Oneg Shabbat. I hope everybody is doing well. And we prepare for the upcoming winter as the weather starts to get a little bit colder and a little chilly outside. Who knows when we'll see our first signs of snow. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Ashahareis, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Ashahareis, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Ashareis, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'achem l'shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'achem l'shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'achem l'shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu ni l'shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu ni l'shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitzchem l'shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitzchem l'shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We've actually started this week the Hebrew month of Kislev. Kislev, we know, represents Chanukah. As Chanukah is approaching in 3 weeks from today. 3 weeks from today on Friday is actually the first day of Chanukah. So we'll speak for a few minutes about the holiday of Chanukah and what it means to all of us here at Gurwin. As we know, the most important mitzvah of Chanukah is obviously the lighting of the menorah. And this year, lighting will be a little bit different. As we know, unfortunately, due to COVID, we were unable to gather together in the lobby like we do every year and sing our songs and celebrate the lighting together. But that doesn't mean we won't celebrate in other ways. As we're gathering menorahs to put in every single room, every person who wants a menorah in their room over Chanukah will have their own menorah. And we'll go around, make sure they get Chanukah treats, jelly donuts, latkes, Chanukah gelt, and all the other wonderful things that we associate with Chanukah. And we hope that this Chanukah will be the end of our own confinement in our rooms. As we know, thoughts of a vaccine are getting closer and closer. And we hope it's really, we've said this before, we're at the end, but I truly do believe we are at the end over here. And Chanukah is always a time for salvation, and hopefully it won't be just a salvation for individuals, for us individuals, but for the whole world really, as we'll see the true salvation and be able to go out and serve as we want and see our families and friends once and for all. Chad hodi likras kala pnei Shabbos nekabelo lechad hodi likras kala pnei Shabbos nekabelo shamoy v'zachor b'dibur echad heshmiyanu gel am yuchar Hashem echad u'shmo yechad Shemo Sefer Ezvile Zila Lecha Dodi Likras Kala B'nei Shabbos Nekabela Likras Shabbos Lechuvin Elcha Hihi Mekor Habiracha Meirosh Mikedem Nisucha Sov Maaseh B'machshavat Chila Lecha Dodi Likras Kala B'nei Shabbos Nekabela Mikdash Melech Ir Melucha Kumitzi Mitoch HaMvechor Avla Shevet B'Yem Havocha V'Yachamo L'Alayechem Lo Chadodi Likras Kala B'nei Shabbos Nekabela Yamin Usmol Tevrotzi V'yez Hashem Taharitzi Al Yad Ben Yishai Beis Halachmi Karvel El Nafshi Yahala Lechadodi Likras Kala B'nei Shabbos Nekabela V'hayolim Shisa Shos Hayech V'rachagu Kol Mivahalayech Yasis Halayech Elokayech Kihim Tzadka Sanal Kala Lechadodi Likras Kala B'nei Shabbos Nekabela V'avi B'shalom Ateres Bala Gam Virina U'B'Sahala Tochem Unei Yam Segula V'avi Kala L'cha Dodi Likras Kala B'nei Shabbos Nekabela. Remember, as we mentioned last week, remember to keep in mind, we've changed the clock recently. It gets dark much earlier than it did a few weeks ago. So Shabbat begins at approximately 4:15 this week, getting earlier and earlier, almost at the earliest weeks of the year, and ends approximately 5:15 Saturday evening. Just everyone should keep that in mind. In this week's Torah portion, Parshas Toldos, we hear the very unusual, interesting story about the two twin brothers, Isaac and Rivka, finally have twin boys. And although many times twin boys are identical in looks, and even if they're not identical in looks, they certainly would be similar in behaviors. We have the opposite extremes of Yaakov and Esav, Jacob and Esau, that are exact polar opposites. Jacob is a very, very simple, quiet young man, a good boy, does the right thing, loves to study, loves to learn Torah. As is Yaakov, Ishtam, Yoshev, Ohalim, he sits in the tents and he studies, a very, very studious young student. Then you have Esav, who is the rough and tough, big brute, who goes around the hunter, the evil hunter, doing misdeeds, terrible deeds. And they're fighting over the birthright of who is the appropriate eldest son, the Bechor, to continue the legacy of the Jewish people. And Esav is the actual biological older son, and therefore he's the one really deserving to receiving the blessings from his father Isaac, from Yitzchak. However, over time, Yitzchak had become blind, and therefore he didn't see all the terrible misdeeds that his older son Esav has done. However, his mother Rivka, Yitzchak's wife, knows that really Yaakov is the one who deserves the blessing, so she comes up with a scheme that sounds a little bit harsh in the first time you hear it, but she tells her son Jacob to dress up as her older son Esav and go in and trick their elderly blind father to receive the blessings. And she does so because Esav, through his acts, through his terrible misdeeds, had lost the rights to the blessings, and he even sold the rights of the blessings to his brother earlier in the Torah portion. So Jacob, although is not the biological firstborn, he's the one who's deserving the rights and the blessings of the firstborn. And their plan works to perfection as Jacob is able to trick his father and receives the blessings, which were really rightfully his, after all. And Esav finds out and he can't believe it, and story goes, Jacob runs away to flee from his murderous brother who's out to kill him. And one of the questions asked is that how come all this trickery, the chicanery, why can't it just be that Yitzchak goes ahead and he knows that really the right bracha goes to Yaakov, goes to Jacob? Why do they have to trick them and dress up and get Esav all angry? Why can't it just be very simply that Rivka says, no, you haven't been deserving of the blessings of your father, your younger brother should get it instead? And the answer is quite interesting, as many of the commentators say, is that sometimes in life we have to be smart and have to be smarter than the enemy. And we shouldn't take anything for granted. And one of the lessons the Torah teaches us here is really we shouldn't just let things go over us, push us over. We should stand up to what's right. Doesn't mean you stand up to what's wrong, but if there's something right, a belief you believe in, a cause you believe in, you should stand up for it and do the right thing. And that's what we learned. Jacob, the cause, obviously received the proper blessings, which were really his to begin with. He stood up and he did the right thing, and we learn from there that it's important to always stand up to the right thing in our lives and in society as well. Adon olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra li'es nasa b'chefsa kol azai melech shemo nikra v'yacharei keklos hakol levahada yimlach nora v'ohaya v'oveh v'oyeh b'sifara v'hu echad v'yein sheni lehamshila lehachbira v'li reishis v'li sachlis v'lahad v'hamisra v'hu keli v'chai gali v'tzor chavli v'yez nasa v'hu nisi umanosli Minas kosi v'yom ekra v'yahadav avkid ruchi v'yesi shan v'yahira v'yim ruchi g'v'yasi ado shem li v'lo ira. I wish you a happy and healthy Shabbat, a happy and healthy great new week.